Okay, I don't know about you guys, but something that I am extremely excited for is the storyline, particularly for Chapter 2 OG. I was an OG Chapter 2 lover, not to say that was just part of OG. I meant like when Chapter 2 was around, I loved every single season of it. So I'm excited for Chapter 2 to come back in general, but what I am particularly excited for is the potential for how they're going to do their storyline and their live event. Today, I'm going to offer a couple theories for you, and as always, I would love to know what you guys think down below afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with many YouTube channels. Guys, let's talk about the Fortnite storyline. So, first of all, I am so excited about this, and I understand, okay, and this is something that I talk about throughout the channel oftentimes. My expectations for this are completely in check. The reason why I enjoyed the Big Bang is because I didn't expect it to be all that great. I expected it to be a little bit more of an ad. I didn't expect it to really dive into the storyline. I am well aware that the live event for Chapter 2 OG could very well be another thing, the kind of like the Big Bang was. I get that, so I'm not setting myself up for disappointment here, and I don't want this video to come across and get you guys overly excited for something like just magnificent that could happen, because I always talk about how you should have your expectations in check, because with the storyline right now, it's great right now, but we got to think about throughout the entirety of Chapter 5, the storyline has really suffered a little bit. So maybe we're just in this season and enjoying the storyline and going hard on the storyline because it's a collaboration, and Epic Games has a duty over to Disney, which is now part owner of Epic Games, which they might be forced to make a good storyline. Point being, I understand, and my worries are out there a little bit, but I always find the storyline fun to talk about, and I want to offer a couple theories. So what I am particularly excited for, and I've heard this floating around, I know I was streaming yesterday and a couple of you guys mentioned it, I don't recall where it came from, but I've heard a couple times that apparently the live event is considered to be something like the device, or there are some device assets used in the files right now. I don't know anything about that, but I think it's fair to assume, because the only thing that is confirmed is that we are going to get a live event. Of course, we're going to get Chapter 2 OG, Seasons 1, 2, and 3. What can they possibly do for a live event? We have 2 live events to work off of, and if we want to connect it to the Chapter 1 OG, of course, they went with the end event, an event that already happened that kind of reworked something that they already did. It's fair to assume that they're going to rework the device event, because the only other live event that we had was the Star Wars update. What they could do is maybe make a live event. They could always make one that's completely unique, don't get me wrong, but if you're going back to OG, if you're trying to re-experience things of Chapter 2, I feel like that you would want to play a little bit more of a twist on the live event that we already had, man, because the end had so much potential. The start of that was so cool. Like, I just wish they dived a little bit more into it, because that was one of the best live events that we've ever had, and it's a little bit disappointing. So I hope they don't do that again with Chapter 2 OG, but I am aware that might exactly happen. So we're going to dive into the storyline, and we're likely going to be focused around Midas, building the device. And I don't know if it's going to really be any different. I would think it's really cool to have just the exact same things come back, right? The exact same things happen where Midas is slowly building the device. And I've talked about it throughout my entire history playing this game, how Chapter 2 Season 2 had my favorite storyline. I would like to re-experience it all, play with what we've been playing with, and where it actually becomes different is, of course, we have these storyline characters. So I'm going to assume that Dr. Doom and all that stuff is resolved by the time that Chapter 2 OG comes. We just have like Hope, Jones, maybe a couple other characters, maybe Valeria, I don't really know, but primarily just Hope and Jones. And this really is the only type of difference that it could really take place, because I don't think that there's anything that could happen within Chapter 2. If we're kind of re-experiencing that timeline, if we're going back in time, it's only fair to assume that the events of the device would play out as they did. But now we have 2 versions of Jones in this, unless Jones somehow dies in this event like we've been speculating a little bit, but I don't know about that, man, because I feel like Hope could kind of do the same thing, but I feel like it would be better to have John Jones be the driving force of this type of storyline. Another theory that I was talking about, you guys can go check out that video, by the way, is I was talking about the idea of Jones potentially dying like everybody's been talking about, right? And I was thinking, okay, well, what if Dr. Doom kills him? He has his big sacrifice. It's this big grand moment. John Jones is no longer part of the Fortnite storyline until Chapter 2 OG, where we get this brand new version of John Jones. So something that I'm possibly thinking about is either Hope or another character could go to Chapter 2 OG. They already know about the IO, because I guess back then the Loopers didn't really know about it, did they? Or do the Loopers really know about it right now? I don't know. They'll figure it out somehow. They'll figure out how to get into the IO headquarters, and at this point, Jones is working for the IO, so maybe Hope could take him through something, or show him something, or convince him of something to make him kind of work against the IO, because if you guys remember, Jones was the reason that the device event got shut down. Jones was taking care of it. Jones like typed on his computer, he told Janet to do something, and then the giant flood ended up coming. But the problem is, because we're going to Chapter 2 OG, we know the flood's going to happen, or at least some water elements are going to take place. Oh, I'm thinking on the spot right now. I know this video is all over the place, guys. Like and subscribe, by the way, if you want to see more content like this, more structured content like this. So here's another thing that I could think could happen, okay? Perhaps, let's walk through this entire thing. Hope, I'm just going to use Hope as an example. It could be another version of Jones. It could be Valeria. It could be Dr. Sloan. I don't care who it is. I don't care. Just some character that we have right now is going to talk to John Jones. They're going to figure out their way into the IO. Jones is about to shut down the device from Midas, but they stop him just in time, or convince him otherwise, or give him second thoughts, because we know Jones is ultimately a good character. They explain to him what the IO is all about, anything along those lines, and Jones kind of shuts it down while the flood's happening. And that would be really cool, because then maybe the whole map wouldn't be flooded, the whole storm wouldn't be full of water. They could shut it down as maybe the water level's rising, so that way we only get part of the island covered in water. And that would be an excuse to have the map be a little bit flooded at points, because we have to dive into Season 3, because you remember Chapter 2 OG is going to be Seasons 1, 2, and 3. We have to have some elements like the Fortilla, some elements like the Rickety Rig. I think that would be a pretty cool way to do it myself. Other ways that I can see this happening is potentially having Midas have a little bit of help, because throughout the years, I'm sure that there's something that you could give Midas in order to help his device be a little bit stronger, because we know it was having a big issue breaking the loop. And actually, well, it did break the loop for a little bit, and I don't know if that's actually been confirmed, to be honest with you, but when the device event kind of like the storm kind of went away, the storm kind of pushed out, I would imagine that the loop was broken, and then Jones brought it back with the water. Because everything, if you remember, everything seemed at peace, everything was quiet, everything was okay. The loop was no more. That's at least how I took it personally. I don't know if that's factual, but maybe you could bring something along from Pandora's box. Some armor, like we know I think it was Dr. Doom that's building something right now for his armor made from Pandora's box. Regardless, I'm sure Midas could have something from Pandora's box to help him out. And then again, oh, what if you even want to dive deeper into it? You have the Midas right now. Dude, how crazy would this be? There's so many different possibilities this could go. The Midas that was in Chapter 5, the Midas that was brought back, sailed off. He's still alive. Everything's okay. He gets brought back to Chapter 2. He knows what he did wrong when it was time to break the loop. So Midas could help Midas and make the device a little bit stronger, or he knew what went wrong or anything along those lines. And then Midas actually succeeds. I've seen a theory floating around, and I actually could so see this being the case, that the device event happens again, and this time it works. For whatever reason, it ends up working, and this is how we get the open world mode, because the loop is no more. You have a brand new mode in Fortnite, part of the metaverse. We know that Epic Games has been working on an open world mode for a very long time. On the other side of the coin, though, I feel like that would have been leaked at this point, because we're almost like, I mean, I know we're obviously not almost in December, but I feel like we would have gotten a leak right now that's confirming open world for Chapter 6. We know that they're going to come out with a brand new mode. They need to come out with some major game changes. Open world would be the perfect way to do that, to have Midas officially break the loop, because that's the only time the loop has been broken. That'd be a really cool way to introduce open world. I don't know, like there's so many different possibilities that could take place. If it was up to me, and I'm thinking about the big giant send-off Jones could possibly have, if I were to write something like this, maybe this would make for a pretty good video. I have a video that I've been working on. Sorry guys, I know this video has been kind of all over the place, but I've had a video that I've been working on, and it's actually done, but I haven't done anything because I wanted to make graphics for it, and I wanted to use AI, but the AI is too difficult. I wrote my original Fortnite storyline, and I thought it would be pretty cool to present that to you guys, but the only way I could possibly present it is to just speak it. I don't know if that's something everybody would be interested in, but regardless, I feel like it would be pretty cool to start coming up with storylines on how I would handle OG Chapter 2. I think I'm going to do that, man. I'm convincing myself in real time. Man, this video is all over the place, man. I'm sorry. I enjoy talking about the Fortnite storyline. This is something that I really miss doing on the channel. By the way, guys, if you are in the Discord server, or if you are not in the Discord server, join the Discord server. Drop some Fortnite storyline theories in the Lore Lab section. I would love to make another Lore Lab video. So one of those two things could happen, in my opinion. Midas helps Midas. It doesn't even have to be the character Midas. Midas gets a little bit more help breaking the loop, or somebody either interrupts Jones or gets Jones to kind of switch sides. So that way, the Jones we have right now, maybe he could have some heroic sacrifice, and then the other Jones is going to be our John Jones moving forward. I think one of those two things could happen. I don't know if there's anything else that we could really dive into the storyline, because I think it'd be cool to see Alter versus Ego again, although I know that's like technically Ghost versus Shadow, and I know that's like kind of like we've seen with the IO versus 7, but I still think it'd be a pretty cool callback. I'd like to see, but the problem is I would imagine that, well, we're just going to go through it within weeks, right? I think I'm looking a little bit too deep into this, because I'm thinking, okay, well, the device event didn't take place for this long, but I don't think we really need to abide by that when it's coming into Fortnite gameplay. We're going to go through everything in chronological order. Nothing's going to happen in Season 1. They better bring back that mythic goldfish. Season 2 is when the storyline's going to pick up. We're going to have Ghost vs. Shadow. We're going to have everything going on with that. And then Season 3, we're going to have the Flood. But the problem with my theory is that means Season 3 would have to happen after the Season 2 event. I don't know how they're going to get away with that. Unless it's just something that they do. Somehow they go back in time. Doesn't really matter how, and everything kind of gets scrambled, and it's just like an alternate reality type thing. I think those details we're looking a little bit, or at least I'm looking a little bit too much into, because Epic Games can just do it. They can give that little easy of an excuse to bring in the storyline. Those are my hard predictions, though. I think something's going to either happen to Midas, or I think something is going to happen to Jonesy, and then the timeline's going to get kind of shift, and we're not going to get the entirety of Chapter 2. Maybe that means the last reality won't come back. I'm also looking for ways to think about how Charlie can kind of kick off his own story with leaving the events of Donald Mustard's story in the past. And I think this would be a really good way to do it. If you were to stop, because if you think about it, the storyline that Donald Mustard brought never really kicked into high gear until Chapter 2, Season 2. If you stop the story where it started, that leaves room for Charlie Wen to take the story into his brand new own direction. I think that's actually phenomenal, especially if you're going to kill the John Jones and then work with this new John Jones as the character for Charlie Wen. I think that is a phenomenal way to close out Donald Mustard's original storyline. You have this nice big heroic ending for our main character, and the character is still with us, but it's a brand new version of the character. I think that's really cool, to be honest with you. I think that's really, really cool, and I've been really excited for the storyline potential in Chapter 6, especially because this season that we're in right now, if you're watching this down the road, we're in Chapter 5, Season 4. I think it's actually like a really, really solid storyline. I'm excited to see what Charlie Wen can do. The possibilities are limitless, guys. I'm very excited for the future of Fortnite and for Chapter 6. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. If you want to continue watching the channel, I suggest you check out this video on screen right now. It's reacting to your own Fortnite hot takes. I would love to have you guys over there. People loved it. Take care.